Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I really want to discuss this. So the democratic dictatorship of the United States of America has decided that it wants to ban TikTok. This is definitely a decision that has come about because people are having access to uncensored and decentralized news, and the community-led liberation efforts were definitely a huge part into the decision by the US government. I really wanted to discuss this and also the factors that have led to this and how this is going to affect the different social media platforms across the social media landscape. I want to talk about two different quotes by Ali Izetbegovic. Izetbegovic was the Prime Minister during the Bosnian genocide, and I'm currently reading his book, Islam Between the East and the West, and these two quotes have been stuck in my head ever since I heard the news that TikTok was going to be banned. A community affected by feelings of solidarity, sacrifice, and common destiny is in a state of religion, and a society that's incapable of religion is also incapable of revolution. To me, these quotes are resonating because it means that the younger generation are posing a threat to the empire because of the solidarity and empathy that they're choosing to extend to the Palestinian people. As younger generations in the West lean further and further left, Izetbegovic's words have been resonating in my mind. And the reason for this is because the younger people, and also people of conscience in general, have been able to extend empathy, solidarity, and feelings of compassion to the Palestinian people that they've watched go through a genocide through their phones. And this is what is so scary to the empire. Your ability to empathize, sympathize, and have compassion for those that they told you were not worthy of it is terrifying, because it means you're not conforming to the narrative that they decided to put out. Many people use social media as a way to access news, and this kind of phenomenon started post-COVID and during the pandemic because of the different ways that governments and journalists decided to report and deal with the pandemic. This means that an entire group of people have access to this uncensored and decentralized version of the news, which has led to more and more people leaning towards the left. And with statistics like these, and also admissions from the government themselves, which is that the reason that this bill is being passed is because of the sheer amount of pro-Palestinian content that's on the app, is there any surprise as to why TikTok is being banned? The fragility of the US empire can definitely be seen in how they've handled this bill. The House is able to push aside things like homelessness, healthcare, and poverty in lieu of things like censorship. And this is because in order for the empire to work, it needs the regular American to comply. And as younger generations have shown the government and everyone around them that they will not accept a genocide being committed in their name, these things cause panic, and that's why the bill was able to pass the House with an overwhelming majority. In the last few months alone, we've seen amazing acts of solidarity by young people in the US, the self-immolation by Aaron Bushnell and his last dying words being Free Palestine, the sheer amount of university students across everywhere in the West pushing their universities to divest against Israel, and also the record-breaking protests and marches that have taken place everywhere around the globe. And because of that, I do think that the measures in the US are going to become more and more draconian. But I will say that with hardship comes ease, and usually in times of hardship there are amazing acts of innovation. And I'm so proud of the younger generations, especially the young Muslims in the US, who are putting everything out on the line in order to fight for a cause that they believe in. The bill that passed is actually calling for TikTok to sell to a US company. The reason why I don't think that TikTok will sell is because of how they handled the situation with the UMG music group. When UMG was asking for more money within their contracts, TikTok simply called their bluff, and we now no longer have UMG music on the app. And this really hasn't changed the experience for users, and UMG is now at a loss. TikTok also has quite a big audience outside of America, so I'm not sure why this would make sense. So I do think that TikTok is going to end up being banned. There are quite a lot of senators that are up for re-election next year, and I don't know how they're going to convince their voters that this is the right thing to do, especially when it comes to something as beloved as TikTok. So good luck to them getting re-elected, and I personally hope that the Gaza genocide is also their political graveyard. And we are just living things that have happened 10 or 20 years ago all the time. So for example, this isn't the first time we've lost a beloved short form video platform. Vine was the rage back in the day, and it ended up getting taken away from us back in 2017. And this changed the social media landscape because a lot of the people that were successful on Vine ended up hopping over to YouTube. And this led to creators like Logan Paul and Lele Pons ending up becoming the new OGs of YouTube. In 2024, I predict that there's going to be quite a lot of TikTok creators that decide to move over to long form content, and we're going to get a whole new generation of YouTubers. The really interesting thing about this is that whether or not TikTok was going to get banned this year, I do think that 2024 was going to be the resurgence of YouTube anyway. Many TikTokers have already started to experiment with longer form content on TikTok, and the reason for this is because that is what the app is currently pushing out with their new 10-minute feature. The other change that's happening recently on TikTok is this rise of use of high quality cameras and the back cameras and microphones. So no longer are people kind of rolling out of bed like they used to and doing FaceTime style videos. They're now curating these environments with aesthetic backgrounds and those kinds of things to film their videos. And I think the reason they're doing this is to stand out against the other types of content on the app. A really good influencer to use as a case study for this is Monet Mcmichael. So she has everything that TikTok really enjoys. She likes to make things like get ready with me's and makeup videos and vlogs, but because she has that elevated style with her high quality camera and the use of microphones, she's able to stand out on the For You page by doing the same thing as everyone else, but just with a slightly different edge. And people are really into it. I think quite a lot of people have decided to do it themselves. More people are filming on the back camera now, and so we're slowly shifting away from the casual style that TikTok originally came about for, to this more curated style, which is very similar to what happened to YouTube back in the day. The other thing that makes Monet stand out against other creators is that she has this really interesting editing style that has actually really started to trend on TikTok. But the editing style itself is very reminiscent of old school YouTube, which is why I feel like there's already this kind of nostalgia and yearning for the golden era of YouTube. The other reason I think that long form content is appealing to both the user and also the creator is because of companionship and community. These things are much easier to cultivate through long form content because you can get to know the creator a lot better in a 20-minute vlog than in a 30-second video. And we're living in a loneliness epidemic. A lot of people are lonely. When Americans were polled, they found that 50% of them were lonely, and in the UK, 40% of people said that their sole companion was their TV or their pet. I, for one, am very interested in getting to know my own community a bit better, which is the Muslim community. Palestine and the lack of knowledge I had regarding the affairs of other Muslims around the world made me deeply ashamed. I felt like I was very much letting the team down, not understanding or knowing the true picture when it came to the machinations of the different governments, but it's something that I definitely want to work on. If you're interested in the political events that happened before and after October 7th, then I definitely recommend this. It was transformative, and Sami Hamdi is one of my favourite speakers of all time. And in the video that I mentioned earlier, when Sami was asked the question as to how he was able to keep up with so many different countries and their different individual political thoughts and theories, he said you should try and concentrate on one country per month until next Ramadan. So following that advice, I've decided to develop my own TBR, so a to-be read list that I'm hoping to read this Ramadan to try and improve my own political consciousness, thought and theory. So these are the books I've decided to pick. The first book I've decided to pick is Where the Lemon Trees Go by Zoulfa Katouh. The reason I picked this is because it follows two teenagers during the Syrian civil war, and I think this is a really important reading for us Muslims. There seems to be this overlooking of the plight of the Syrians on social media, which I think is absolutely horrifying, and also a sympathy towards dictators. I'm looking at you, George Galloway. So I think this is a really important read, and I'm really excited about it. Loads of my friends have absolutely loved it and they said that the writing is beautiful. I am a little bit scared for how much my heart is going to hurt, but I'm really excited about this one. The next one is Islam Between the East and the West by Ali Izetbegovic. Like I mentioned earlier, this is written by the Bosnian Prime Minister, and he was the Prime Minister during the Bosnian War. His philosophy and theology is so fascinating, and some of the lines in this book are going to stay with me forever. I'm about 40% of the way through and it is absolutely amazing. I would highly recommend, even from the short amount that I've read so far. Last book that I want to read this Ramadan is the Muqadimmah by Ibn Khaldun. This is recommended by Sami. He said that this book really helped him understand and look at different political sciences and theology, so I'm really interested in this. This is a comprehensive textbook about Islamic history, so I'm really interested in this and I'm hoping that it will give me some insight the same way that it did him. And that is my video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. It really helps me out. And let me know if you're interested in maybe reading some of these books together. I could maybe organize some sort of book club. And also tell me if you agree or disagree about TikTok being banned. Maybe you've got a different perspective than I do. And that's it. I will see you guys next week. Bye guys!